just a little bit about Cognizant. When that company was growing, there were a number of challenges like this, but no challenge as large as this. There were only 2 times in its entire 25 years of history where it had a sequential decline in revenue. And that also a sequential decline in revenue only in one quarter. This is a company that has been in existence from 1994. First was in 2001, when the 9/11 happened. The 9/11 incident in the US, which the terrorist attack, that changed the complexion of the corporate world, was the first major incident when we realized that we were not prepared. As a company, we were not prepared for that kind of an eventuality in terms of backup plans, in terms of disaster recovery, in terms of just taking care of the employees who were stranded in various locations. That was the first time, and that we thought was a very big crisis. That was followed by another one, which is the financial crisis. That was in the year 2008, when the total meltdown happened. Many of the famous names in Wall Street and many of the high street banks in US and all over the world, including banks in Europe like Deutsche Bank and banks in the UK like Barclays Bank and Midland Bank, were under so much stress because of all the bad loans and the subprime mortgage lending, that for a quarter, that just revenue dropped by almost 40%. People just froze. Again, fortunately, we recovered. And the learnings from those are very, very clear. It's just that it's at the time that you're facing a decline, that time, if you're in a service industry, that's the time that you have to take care of your clients much more than any other time. They are not in a position to engage with you. They are not in a position to pay your bills. They are not clear as to what they should be doing, etc. But if at that time you spend all your time and effort and engage with them, not worry about bills, not worry about anything else that's happening in the world except to see how their businesses can come up and running as quickly as possible. That kind of relationship building is valued far more than anything else that you can do for your clients. Just staying with them during the crisis time tells them who you are. And that's an important lesson that it's not unique. A lot of businesses are following that. And that's the only way to maintain and manage the relationship. The second thing is looking at it as an opportunity. And clearly in the last 2 months, so many things have changed. Corporate behavior has changed. Individual behavior has changed. We used to, in a company like Cognizant, we used to reluctantly permit people to work from home. We will say, okay, one day in a week, perhaps on a Friday, you can stay at home and work, but the rest of the time, we would like you to be in the physical office and be part of the team and work. That's completely changed. Now we are trying to push as many people as possible to move out. This is happening across the industry, across industries. This evening, Rajneesh Kumar, the chairman and CEO of State Bank of India, was talking. He was saying that how digital are you was the question that was posed to him. So he gave a very nice and simple answer. As far as the corporate world is concerned, we are 99% digital, as far as the corporate customers are concerned. As far as the retail and the individual customers are concerned, we are almost there. We are 75% digital. That was an astounding thing. And the question that came in my mind is, if the corporates are 99%, if SBI is 99% digital, which means the counterparty also should be digital. And they cannot be digital only in one aspect. They cannot be digital only in the finance aspect and not be digital in the HR aspects, not be digital in the legal aspects of running that corporation and so on. So if all those corporates are so digital, why is it that many of the legal firms, why is it that many of the accounting and auditing firms, why is it that so many are the other service firms who are dependent on corporates as customers not so digital? That's a big question that we have to ask. Is it only the finance department who are interacting with the banks, who are savvy, it has become a necessity for them to be digital because the banks and the financial sector is far more digital? Or is it some kind of a lethargy? Is it because of some departmental or silos that happen in corporates because of which this is happening? That's something that needs careful investigation. And that's an area of opportunity. Any bank, any corporate, big or small, medium-sized company, if your interaction with the banks are completely digital, then there is no reason why your interaction with legal firms, legal advisors, with the government, like the Ministry of Corporate Affairs, cannot be completely digital. And that's a point that we have to keep in mind. And companies like Vakilsearch, which are digitally native, have a tremendous advantage. The type of experience that you have, the type of challenges that you have faced during the formative years, and the learning that you have is phenomenal. Not just in servicing single clients in terms of taxes, in terms of setting up, in terms of registration, in terms of compliance, but in terms of the collective data that you have. What is it that will be of immense value to the rest of the world? It will be an analysis of, if you have, let's say, 400,000 clients, what is it that you have learned in your legal interactions with them? And that insight in specific areas, either in terms of compliance, in terms of ideas, when is it that they find it most challenging legally? What are the type of legal cases that is most prevalent among these corporates, etc., etc. And publishing that ever so often, once every fortnight or once every month, is what attracts people. What is it that professionals want? Professionals like money, leading a good life, which is kind of assured when they come into the corporate world. Professionals like to learn every single day, every single minute. If there is a new learning that they have, that's something that they appreciate. That environment, that learning environment stimulates them, that invigorates them. And what is it that they can do with that learning? They can attack complex problems. They need those challenges. As long as you provide a learning environment, and as long as you provide opportunities to learn every single day, and as long as they are challenged with new problems, new opportunities every single day, they're excited. They like to work together. And where does this learning come from? With all the data that you have, so many people, so many companies that you've interacted with, so many models that you have created, so many new innovations that you have seen. Privacy and secrecy and security is important, but there is a level at which you can abstract all this data that will be of value, not just to the employees within Vakilsearch, but also to the entire world. Directionally, and it's that insight that is going to invite you to the next meeting of intellectuals when they want to discuss maybe a new policy initiative. Why is it that the compliance in a particular area is very, very low? And if you will be able to say, I've seen 400,000 clients, I've looked at the compliance challenges that many of them face. If you fix 1, 2, 3, you will see the compliance levels improving tremendously. Our procedures are complex, our rules are complex, simplify it, and this is the way to simplify it. These are insights that you can provide, which will be valued as a consulting organization, as an organization that has the depth, and as an organization that has access to literally thousands and thousands of small, medium, and perhaps at some stage even large businesses. That's one thing that digitization will enable, and the technology is there. Investing in technology and continuing to remain digital native is very, very key to Vakilsearch in your area of business, and driving all your clients, insisting that they do things in a digital manner continuously and constantly is another imperative. I'm sure there are clients, small businesses from locations in tier 2 and tier 3 cities who take it easy. Who can go digital but choose not to because of some inertia. It's by insisting with them and telling them the advantages, that what a level playing field that they will play in, if they are digital. If they are digital and they are in a place like Salem, no customer of theirs would really care. You know, it's whether you're in New York or Chennai or Salem or Erode, as long as the customer's interaction that you have is digital, doesn't make any difference. That opens up a competitive space that is huge for every one of the businesses that you provide services to. And that will also be huge for you as a company to learn, because the competition, it's the physical infrastructure and setting up people and the old way of doing business has its own modes, its own barriers for entry. But the digital companies don't have much of a barrier. So it's therefore important for you to be innovative. Every 6 months, you reinvent the business. Every 6 months, the people have to reinvent themselves so that they are innovative. Because if you don't, competition will catch up. And that gives that energy, that adrenaline for all the people to deliver more and more. And there is no better time than now, as we see everyone is going digital, the opportunities are opening up. That's the first thing that I wanted to mention about digitization. The second thing is about growth. How do we grow? Growing through compliance, growing through legal services, etc. That is one dimension of growth. One dimension of growth is doing more of the same for thousands of clients, millions of clients, billions of clients, etc., etc., and completing billions of exercises, billions of transactions in a particular area. But that's only a unidimensional growth. We have to add more and more dimensions to the growth story. If adding more and more clients is one dimension, the number of services that you provide to each one of those customers is the second dimension. That will provide you the multiplier effect. If you have just one or two service lines, the multiplier effect is limited. But if you have 5 or 6 different lines of services or products that you can service with, that you go to market with, that immediately delivers a multiplication effect. That's the second dimension of growth. What other dimensions of growth exist? That's something that you have to constantly keep asking that question. Is geography a dimension for growth? I'm in India. Should I expand my type of service to other countries? In what way are the other countries different? In what way are the laws different? Do I set up a separate practice for overseas clients in a similar space? Is there a third dimension there? Is there a fourth dimension in terms of analytics or advising corporates, governments, policy makers in terms of insight into what the various companies are doing? So a constant thought process strategically to see how can I multiply the dimensions of growth in the firm is something that you have to think about. In order to manage that kind of a growth, new innovation, new lines of business, managing thousands and millions of customers, you need to have the structure appropriate for that. The strategy is to grow, to expand. Then the structure should support that strategy. The structure has to be in terms of empowerment, in terms of vertical lines of business, in terms of P&L responsibility, in terms of knowledge centers, in terms of analytics, in terms of technology that supports the various lines of business, and still remaining nimble. The structure is a whole new question. The moment you reach some 500, 600 people, the challenges of systems and structures will start hitting you. The people who are knowledgeable, people who have built specific product lines or service lines will be greatly in demand, and they will prove to be the bottleneck for growth. So how do we tackle that is something that you have to think about as you keep looking at expanding. So you're in the right place. The pandemic, bad as it may be, offers companies that are already digital to expand even further, and companies that are not so digital to become even more digital now. So that's a number one great opportunity for growth. And number two is, how long will the people keep doing the same thing over and over again? How do we innovate? How do they move on to different things, more exciting things, more intellectual things, so that people coming and joining the organization at the entry level can do some of the routine things and learn, while the people who have stayed in for 2 years, 3 years move to higher order things, that will be intellectually challenging. That will be a great learning, and that will have the value of that work will be far more appreciated and respected by the industry, by the partners, than the routine type of testing.
Get 300 plus services. Chat and email with our team directly. Get stunning discounts and rewards. Only on Vakilsearch app. Download now.